Today, we are going on an absolutely incredible journey, deep inside our own bodies. We're going to uncover the microscopic engine that powers, well, everything we do. Seriously, have you ever really stopped to think about it? How does that sandwich you had for lunch actually become the energy you need to, I don't know, run a sprint or even just think? It feels a little bit like magic, doesn't it? But nope, it's not magic. It's this amazingly efficient process called cellular respiration. So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to go from a simple breath right down to the cell, watch a sugar molecule get split in two, and see what happens when oxygen isn't around. Then it's off to the cell's powerhouse. We'll uncover a cool little secret about what else is made, and finally, we'll tally up the final energy bill. All right, let's dive in. To really get this whole story about our body's energy, we've got to start right at the beginning. And I mean the very beginning, just taking a breath. Now, on the big picture level, we all think we know what respiration is, right? It's just breathing. We use our lungs, fish use their gills. You get the idea. It's that basic exchange, taking in oxygen and getting rid of carbon dioxide. But see, that's just the delivery service. Think of it like a package arriving at your door. The real action, the place where that oxygen actually gets unwrapped and put to use, well, that's happening right this second inside pretty much every single one of your trillions of cells. And here is the mission, should you choose to accept it. Take one single molecule of glucose, that simple sugar you get from food, and just completely break it apart to release all that amazing energy locked up inside. That, my friends, is cellular respiration. Okay, so every epic story has a beginning, right? For our hero, the glucose molecule, that first step is a process called glycolysis. And get this, it's so ancient and so fundamental that basically every living thing on this planet does it. So here's the breakdown. It all happens in the cytoplasm, which is kind of like the main gooey part of the cell. The glucose molecule gets chopped in half, creating two smaller molecules called pyruvate. And while this is happening, the cell cashes in a little bit, making a small profit of energy. It captures it in these handy molecules called ATP and NADH. The big thing to remember here is that number, 2. We get a net gain of just 2 ATP molecules, and ATP is like the main energy cache for the cell. So it's kind of like scratching a lottery ticket and winning $2. Hey, it's something, but the real jackpot is still out there waiting. Okay, so after that first split, our 2 little pyruvate molecules come to a major fork in the road. And the choice of which path to take? It all comes down to one single, crucial thing. Is there any oxygen around? I mean, think about it. Let's say you're in an all-out sprint, just pushing it as hard as you can. Your muscles are screaming for oxygen, but they just can't get it fast enough. So what happens? Does the whole system just shut down? No way. The cell has a backup plan, a plan B. And that plan B is called fermentation. It's what's known as an anaerobic process. Fancy word for without oxygen. This is exactly what causes that lactic acid burn in your muscles when you're working out hard, and it's also what yeast uses to make ethanol for things like bread and beer. So this lays out the two choices perfectly. On one side, you've got fermentation, no oxygen, and a really low energy payout. You're stuck with just those 2 ATP from the first step. But on the other side, if oxygen is around, that pyruvate gets a golden ticket to the main event, aerobic respiration. And that promises a massive energy payout. So let's follow that golden ticket, shall we? We are heading straight for the cell's power plant, the place where the real energy jackpot is won, the mighty mitochondrion. With oxygen basically acting as the key to the door, our pyruvate molecule makes its move from the cytoplasm and into this special little organelle. And this is where things get really, really interesting. The energy production is about to go into overdrive. Once inside, the pyruvate gets onto this complex, multi-stage assembly line. First up is the TCA cycle. You might also know it as the Krebs cycle. Here, the pyruvate is broken down even more, and this is where that carbon dioxide you're exhaling comes from. The main job of this cycle is to load up special energy-carrying molecules with high-energy electrons. Think of them like little shuttle buses. These shuttles then race over to the final stage, the electron transport system. And this is where oxygen becomes the MVP, because it's waiting at the very end to grab those used-up electrons and form water. Super important job. And look, the whole story is right here in this chart. I mean, just look at the difference. Glycolysis, it gives us a measly 2 ATP. The TCA cycle? Another 2. Okay, fine. But the electron transport system? Whoa. It cranks out an incredible 34 ATP. That is the powerhouse payoff we were talking about, and it's all thanks to oxygen. So you'd be forgiven for thinking the story ends there, right? Glucose gets broken down, tons of energy gets made, the end. But hold on, because there's a really cool twist. This whole process isn't just about tearing things down. It's also about building things up. There is a fancy scientific term for this, amphibolic. All it means is that the pathway is a two-way street. It's catabolic, that's the breaking down part, but it's also anabolic, which means it gives the cell the raw materials it needs to build new stuff. So think about it. While glucose is on this assembly line, the cell can just pull some of the intermediate parts off the line. It's like taking spare parts from a factory. And it uses these parts as building blocks to make all sorts of crucial things. Amino acids for proteins, lipids for cell walls, even the nucleotides for your DNA. This whole process is basically the central hub for everything your cell does metabolically. All right, let's start to bring this all home. We're going to look at the final numbers, and then I'll show you a really clever way scientists can actually spy on this process from the outside. So the big question, what's the grand total? When all is said and done, the complete oxygen-fueled breakdown of just one molecule of glucose gives our cells around 36 molecules of ATP. Talk about a fantastic return on investment. And get this is really cool. By measuring the simple ratio of the carbon dioxide you breathe out to the oxygen you breathe in, scientists can calculate something called the respiratory quotient, or RQ. And what's amazing is that the number they get tells them exactly what kind of fuel your body is burning at that very moment. A ratio of 1.0, you're burning carbs. Less than that, you're burning fats or proteins. It's like a metabolic signature. So there you have it. From a simple breath all the way down to this incredibly complex metabolic hub, cellular respiration is literally the engine that keeps you going. Every single moment, your cells are making these choices, running these pathways to power you. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What kind of fuel are you giving your incredible power plant to work with?